John Romero. He's responsible for some of the greatest and most influential games of all time. Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake are all games that Romero had a heavy influence on the creation of. He's also responsible for the creation of this.
I can't leave without my buddy Superfly.
Welcome to Daikatana. Daikatana was a game that went through an incredibly long development cycle for a game of its time, with its original planned release date being 1997 and eventually morphing into the final release date of May 2000. As far as I'm aware, the game was hyped up to be the next big thing of the 90s style FPS craze. It, however, was the last thing in that craze. Daikatana is oftentimes credited as being one of the biggest commercial failures in the video game industry. Oftentimes, a lot of the blame for this game's poor sales gets put onto its abysmal marketing. The developer Ion Storm felt it was paramount that they let everybody know that John Romero was working on the game. Considering the sheer absurdity of this game's marketing, it's really not that far-fetched of an idea that this is why the game failed so hard. Like, the marketing is just so in your face and edgy, like, John Romero's about to make you his bitch. I mean, John Romero even came out later on and gave a YouTuber apology for this advert. But what about the game itself though? Well, the game consists of 4 episodes. When I first found out there was more than 1 episode, I was unhappy. The game just does not feel nice to play, even with the fan-made patch I decided to use. The patch fixes a lot of the major issues with the game. The sidekick pathfinding is better, and it makes the game work properly on modern monitors. But unfortunately, it doesn't fix enough. I mean, immediately, the first thing that I noticed is that my mouse doesn't even work properly. So if I use my good mouse, then it hits me with this random mouse acceleration. The only solution I could find was by taking an old, cheap, crappy mouse and plug it into my computer. However, do keep in mind this doesn't completely fix the problem, it does come back sometimes. I really didn't get a good first impression from this game in general. The opening cutscene lasts forever, to the point where I started scrolling on TikTok, which is something I never do. Go follow me on TikTok, by the way. In the opening, we have to fight a bunch of really irritating enemies, like these frogs that poison you and the mosquitoes that make, this infuriating buzzing noise. Combine that with the fact that I can't aim, and I was understandably not having a great time. Something that this game did try and innovate with though is the sidekick mechanic, and the first one we meet is Superfly Johnson.
How about some information first?
Speak.
I'm looking for someone. She's only been locked up in here for a couple of weeks.
An Asian girl?
Man, the sidekicks are terrible. They occasionally can help at clearing out rooms, but that's it. I cannot believe the amount of times I died because Superfly got in my way. And it doesn't get any better later on, because we also have Makiko joining us. We can command them about, but like, why is there not a rally type function? Why do I need to tell each one of them to come to me individually? Along with that, I need to constantly make sure that they're following me so they don't get stuck behind doors and stuff, because they can't open doors. And don't worry, if one of them does get stuck behind the door, they won't just come to you at the end of the level, because oh no, I can't leave without my buddy Superfly. I genuinely don't understand how it was this much of a disaster. I mean, it works perfectly with the Marines in Halo. Granted, you don't need to command them about, but at least they'll follow you and don't get in the way. They never get you killed by standing in front of you or in the way that you need to go, and they don't make snarky, annoying comments if you bump into them.
You like pushing me around?
And don't even get me started on the cutscenes, like, what is that? Who animated this? Me? Why is Superfly still looking at me like that? My lord, even Half-Life 1 has facial animations. Again, look at the cutscenes in Halo. Yeah, they're old and they haven't aged amazingly, but at least they're still watchable and easy to follow. These two games look like they were years apart, but Halo only released a year after Daikatana. Halo and Daikatana both had crunch-inducing, employee mental health slaughtering, horrific development cycles. Daikatana took 4 years to develop. Halo took 9 months. One is one of the most critically acclaimed and revolutionary games ever made, and the other is Daikatana. The weapons you'll be using are not really that great either. Probably the worst offenders will be the first weapon you get, the double-barrel shotgun, and this thing. The first weapon is just boring, and I only really used it to destroy turrets and things that you generally just need to blow up to progress, which there are a lot of. The double-barreled shotgun has an awesome design, but my god, is it annoying to use. I usually defaulted to this weapon when I was trying not to blow myself up with sidekicks around, but it chews through ammo so quickly. When it's fired, it uses the entire mag, which is just absurd to me. Most enemies don't even need the whole mag to be killed, and it overall just ruins what could have been an amazing shotgun.
Like pushing me around.
And oh boy, this thing.
You disgust me.
I genuinely got like no use out of this gun. Most of the time I used it, it just ended up killing me instead of the enemies. It bounces around giving off damage to anything nearby, but the range is so large that it's basically useless. The Daikatana didn't really impress me at first either, but it can be upgraded over time to become less absolutely useless. Each upgrade makes it progressively more powerful and more shiny. It has 5 total levels, and you upgrade it by killing stuff with it. It's pretty cool if you ask me, but it kinda does get annoying when Makiko keeps stealing my kills at the last second. In all honesty, the weapons later in the game didn't really impress me either. Some of them are tolerable or pretty cool in some instances, but compared to other games from the same time, they're incredibly lackluster. Or they're just completely ineffective. I mean, the game isn't even fair at certain points. It was meant to be an FPS game for only the most hardcore PC gamers, so it's obviously gonna punish you, but it isn't like, say, Blood, where if you die, you kinda had it coming. Nah, this game's just downright unfair. A lot of my issues with the fairness of this game have come from the loading areas, surprisingly. For instance, one left me running in a straight line permanently, which meant I couldn't really dodge enemy projectiles. There's even been multiple instances where I've walked through a door into a loading area and been met by enemies as soon as I get there. When I try and back off to avoid damage, I get hit by the loading area again. Once I go back through the loading bar to fight the enemies, I just die instantly, causing the save to make me die as soon as I spawn, because the developers didn't know how to make enemy placements in the right positions. Oh, I die instantly. Watch this. See? Instant death. Daikatana is a massive mess in all honesty. The gameplay is less than ideal, the weapons suck, the story is boring, and the sidekicks are a nuisance. Genuinely, the only positive thing I have written down in my notes is that I liked the music and the general concept of the game. The idea is great, and I for one hope to see the game reimagined in the modern day to show its real potential. For now, we have to deal with this broken mess of a video game. But what do you think of Daikatana? Have you even played the game? Let me know in the comments, and if you're new around here and like this type of content, then consider subscribing. The channel is beginning to head in a new direction, with a lot more of this type of content on its way. If you want to help support the channel and the creation of these videos, I recommend becoming a channel member. It helps me for funding of these videos, and it allows you to have priority comments and a behind the scenes look at upcoming content. But other than that, thank you all for watching, and have a nice day.